On today's show, Ecotricity and Genesis partner to bring Kiwis even more clean, green, 100% zero carbon certified electricity. Tesla drops the price of the entry-level Model 3 and Model Y, and EV startup Aptera raises $4 million in its Series A funding round. These stories and more coming next. This is Ecotricity's ecoTEC Roundup show from New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we're the leading supplier of electricity to electric vehicles in New Zealand. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. We start today's show with some truly awesome news from Ecotricity. We've just joined forces with Genesis to bring its 100% renewable energy to our customers across New Zealand. Our partnership with Genesis Energy means that we're going to be adding up to 450 gigawatt hours of electricity from the brand new 133 megawatt Waipipi wind farm in South Taranaki. Not only do the 31 wind turbines make a beautiful site on the coast, but they also generate enough electricity for 1,600 households, or 5,000 electric vehicles, and it can save us 250 billion kilos of carbon dioxide every single year. So if you're not already signed up and helping reduce our nation's emissions, now's a really good time to go and do it. We start today with the official reveal of the 2022 Chevrolet Bolt EUV and refreshed 2022 Chevrolet Bolt EV. The new Bolt EUV uses the same battery pack and drivetrain as the 2020 Bolt EV, but it gains 6 inches on its sibling and it will be marketed as a compact crossover. It will be the first non-Cadillac to offer Super Cruise, and it will start from just under $34,000. Meanwhile, the Bolt, getting a mid-cycle refresh, gets the styling cues from its bigger brother, which includes a vastly improved interior, DC quick charging and active safety technology as standard, as well as a new lower, just under $32,000 price tag. Both cars now come with installation of a home charging station free of charge. While neither cars are sold globally, this launch will only do good things for the price of EVs worldwide. Daimler has been sending mixed messages about electric vehicles this week, pledging that it will design all new models as being electric first. But in an interview with Financial Times, the brand's CEO stated that its internal combustion engine market is, quote, extremely robust and produces cash flows that we can invest in the future, end quote. Later on, he hinted to German-language paper Handelsblatt that Daimler's previous plans of having a quarter of all of its cars plug-in by 2025 and a half by 2030 might be revised upwards. It seems like confused messaging, and I'd say it is. But the brass tacks here is that Daimler doesn't want to say Auf Wiedersehen to suck, squeeze, bang, blow anytime soon. In the same week that Chevrolet dropped the price of its Bolt EV by $5,500, so too did Tesla announce a price drop to its entry-level Model 3 and Model Y. The Model 3 Standard Range Plus has been given a $1,000 price cut, while the entry-level Model Y, the Model Y Standard Range, gets a $2,000 price cut. At $36,990 and $39,990 respectively, both models are still more expensive than the entry-level Chevy Bolt, Bolt EUV, Ford Mustang Mach E, and Volkswagen ID4, but it's certainly interesting to see this move happen now. Sadly, Tesla also increased the price of its performance variants of both cars by $1,000, so if you want the range-topping example, prepare to spend just a little more. According to news reports from South Korea, Hyundai has come to an agreement with the domestic Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport that will see the firm replace faulty traction batteries in its Kona EV, Ioniq EV and eLEC city bus. The Hyundai Kona EV has been in the spotlight recently due to some high-profile battery fires that caused it to issue a software update to customers' cars around the world. The result of that software update was reduced range, and initially it was thought that the company would not be replacing battery packs. However, this news does suggest that South Korea, at least, will be getting battery replacements for customers' cars. It's not clear if Hyundai will be doing the same thing in other countries, but it certainly appears that this particular replacement campaign was pushed by regulators, not the automaker. Of course, if there are changes to this story, I'll let you know. Continuing its push towards an all-electric future, Ford has announced this week that its entire European new car fleet will be zero-emission capable by mid-2026. Looking further forward, it has committed to going fully electric across the continent by 2030, with 2/3 of its commercial vehicle sales expected to be either electric or plug-in hybrid by the same date. To achieve this, Ford has announced a new $1 billion investment into a new electric vehicle manufacturing centre in Cologne, Germany. It says the facility will be producing all-electric models for European customers as soon as 2023. With many European countries looking to ban the sale of internal combustion engine vehicles between 2030 and 2040, it really is no surprise that Ford has made this announcement. Here's hoping that it follows this pattern around the world. The idea of buying your car and then leasing the battery pack isn't actually a new one. Renault has been doing it for many years, although I do believe it's no longer offered in some European countries. But now Hyundai has said it's considering it for its future electric vehicles. According to a press release issued on Thursday, the company has signed an MOU with the South Korean government and partner companies to create a battery ecosystem. As part of that EV battery ecosystem, a domestic fleet service will lease batteries from Hyundai to use as a fleet of electric taxis, something that will lower its initial outlay while allowing Hyundai to recover the battery packs at end of life and then use them in non-EV projects. While the idea is intriguing, the success or not of Renault's battery lease system suggests that most customers are uneasy with the idea of owning their own cars, but not actually owning the battery packs. I'd love to know in the comments below what you think of this concept. Talking of leasing, we learned this week via Alex on Autos that Ford is offering a rather interesting leasing deal for its Mustang Mach E. Rather than carry out a traditional lease where you pay a set monthly fee and give the vehicle back at the end of it, Ford is essentially selling you the car using a finance agreement masquerading as a lease. Then, when the lease period is up, Ford will buy it back from you at a pre-arranged price. It does sound similar to the hire purchase agreements that I've encountered in Europe, but interestingly, this setup allows you to claim the US federal tax credit directly, whereas with a lease, it's the leasing company that claims it. I'm not sure if I like this or not, but I guess it beats a traditional lease buyout, which, as I've learned recently, can be kind of expensive. California startup Aptera has announced the closing of its initial $4 million Series A round of funding, claiming a total $250 million worth of pre-orders, totaling 7,000 reservations for its two-seat ultra-efficient three-wheeler. Aptera's construction is unlike anything in the automotive industry today, and that, says its founders, means that it can make itself ready for market far more quickly than a traditional automaker could. However, Aptera still has a long way to go. Earlier this year, when I talked to the founders Chris Anthony and Steve Fambro, and at the time they told me they were still in the early alpha prototype phase. That said, I am eager to see how things progress for the company this year. Disclaimer, I am a personal reservation holder, so obviously I want the company to make it to production. Sadly though, it is too early to tell if it will or not. Bringing a new vehicle to market is a long and arduous process, full of lots of engineering challenges, setbacks, and other frustrations. But losing a prototype vehicle to fire? Well, that has to suck more than all of those other setbacks. Yet we learned this week that Lordstown Motors had that exact thing happen to it at the end of January, when it lost one of its prototype test mules to a battery fire during its first engineering test drive on the public highway. According to a new report from Inside EVs, while Lordstown has confirmed that an incident occurred, it hasn't disclosed what caused the fire. Only following a Freedom of Information request did Inside EVs actually obtain photographs of the destroyed vehicle from local authorities. From the photos, it looks as if the test mule wasn't a Lordstown-built vehicle, but rather a production pickup with a Lordstown drivetrain and power electronics fitted inside. Nobody was hurt, thankfully. And finally, in case you weren't aware, it snowed quite a lot in the US this week. Like, at one point, more than 70% of the lower 48 was under snow cover of some sort. That's frankly pretty unheard of. But it's given automakers plenty of chances to take their vehicles out in the snow, to have a bit of fun. First, Hummer took its Hummer EV pick out in the snow for some social media fun, and then almost immediately following that, Ford published some footage of its Mustang Mach E and prototype Ford F-150 pickups making snow angels and doing donuts and having sideways fun. Not to be outdone, Tesla was next, showing a short video of its Plaid Model S testing in the snow. Interestingly though, that latter video caused a bit of a stir as it shows the Model S Plaid not with a weird yoke steering wheel, but a full, round, normal steering wheel. The same has been found on Tesla's website, which suggests that the Tesla Model S and X may end up getting a conventional steering wheel after all. Will it? Who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see. And on that note, we are done for the day. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next episode. And if you haven't already switched, why not consider switching to New Zealand's only carbon zero certified renewable electricity company? It is super easy to make the switch, and when you do, you'll be helping New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean, green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. I'll be back soon with more great videos for you all to enjoy, but until then, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite! See you next time.